Yo, people, welcome back to the spaceship. You already know what time it is. It's time for another stream with Dami, my guy. Mod's not here yet because he's late. You know what I mean? What's going on there?
Brother, can we all listen before we actually start? Can we all talk about how mad Matisse's intro is? Like, that tune is actually around.
I think it's decent. I think it's decent.
Actually, not bad, you know. It's not bad. Actually, I like that. But Mod, we don't know where Mod is. I know Mod is, you know, having fun, you know, having things left and right. We don't really know what that brother is up to right now.
I can only delay so much. But when he arrives, I'll just add him into the stream. You guys have seen me do it before. The chat's on fire anyway, so it's all good. You know, people already here. Man, them, how are you already? Do you know what I mean? Let me see the chat real quick. How are you doing, people? Let me just quickly say hello to who's in here, regular and whatnot. We're going to obviously be speaking about Lampard. And the reason why I'm doing it is because I feel like we've obviously criticised Lampard a lot. But we also, as well, which is very important to say, we're still Lampard in, aren't we? And I think, and Mod is as well. That's the whole point of the stream. So when he arrives, obviously, I'll spring the question to him. But because we're still Lampard in, it's very important to say why. It's very important to say why we still have patience. It's very important to bring up the points and the good points as to why we're still on that. So first half an hour, I'm going to do that. Second half an hour, and then we're going to speak about, for me, the highlights of the year. It's the end of the year, people. It's been a long year for everybody. It's been a long year. A lot of bad, you know, things have happened for people this year. So I want to end it by just speaking about the best things that have happened in 2020 for Chelsea, because we're on a slump of form, but let's not pretend like it's been all doom and gloom. We have had good moments, so I don't want to forget about that. First of all, just to confirm, you are Lampard in, right?
Yes, I am Lampard in. I'm going to do a shameless plug at the start. You man, go check out my picture with Kai Havertz's alpacas. You know what I'm saying? Go check. I called Matisse, and I was like, bro, literally, yeah. So mine, I was with some alpacas, yeah. Matisse is literally sleeping in bed, and I FaceTime my brother, and I was like, yo, bro, what are you saying? Man is like, what are you looking at me like? Why is this man ringing me at this time? I said, look at Kai Havertz's alpacas, bro. Look at these beautiful looking donkey ass things. If I put the caption I was gonna put there, fam, Rudiger would have blocked me. Honest to God. So
I wasn't expecting to wake up, out of my sleep, still dust in my eyes, and I'm seeing you feeding an alpaca for what reason I don't know. I don't know what you're on, but
Kai Havertz is like, and someone's asking what's an alpaca. It's like a llama in it. So it does like a goat with a long neck. Just think about it like that. Exactly. So like, obviously, man was like, you know, Havertz has been off form, so you had to go sort out his donkeys. You know what I mean? So I had to keep them like that.
Well, onto I see how I'm going to naturally segue this onto things that are off form. We're off form, but we're still Lampard in, right? We're still patient. We're still holding the patience for the upcoming 2021 part of the season. Why is that? Obviously, I'll state my reason, but what are your reasons for still being patient? Why have you not jumped ship yet?
At the end of the day, someone roasted Mod in the chat. Anyways, at the end of the day,
when he gets here, we will roast Mod, because this is
I've
never had anybody late. Nobody's ever done this to me, you know. This is I'm a little bit. I'm feeling it in my chest. He's a little bit late here. All right,
don't worry, my Nigerian people. I've got my outfit here. Once Mod comes, we're going to roast him. Nigerian secretary coming out, you get me? But let me not even go too much into that. At the end of the day, for me, this, like with this Lampard out thing, at the end of the day, I'm not Lampard out, and I would even I'm Lampard in, but I don't like to use the tags, because for me, Lampard in and Lampard out is based on your fundamentals of how you support Chelsea Football Club.
Okay. Don't waffle. Don't waffle. Get to the question.
We're not waffling.
Reasons?
We're not waffling. You know, my point is very basic. So we need to give it a lot of buttressing and build it, make it nice and package and send it off with Royal Mail first class special.
All I smell is waffle. I smell waffle.
Waffle. You know, don't worry. There's no maple syrup, so it's not going to go down smoothly. You understand? We'll take it the way it is. You get me? But at the end of the day, for me, I'm Lampard in because, number one, passion and desire. I am a sort of passion and desire. You get me?
Don't take the mic.
No, but actually, I'm not even taking the mick. At the end of the day, it's because of how much I love Lampard. That's one of the reasons. When you talk about actual spot-on reasons, if we're keeping it real, all these new players haven't really played together for more than 10 games at a stretch. So they haven't gotten that chemistry going. As much as we all say that Eden Hazard, we relied on him so much, we don't want to rely on Hakim Ziyech. 100% agree with that, but let him have all those different players. Do you know what I mean? I would like to see him succeed. Do you understand? I'd like to see him, and I understand certain things haven't been there. I know we like to do stuff in isolation and don't talk about the other teams and everything, but obviously with the pandemic around and everything that's going on, it's also having a bit of an effect. Kai Havertz, him getting the thing wasn't accounted for. Do you understand? We're not expecting that to happen. So all these different elements are some of the reasons why you need to give Lampard time. A lot of people don't want to give him time because he's inexperienced and we don't know how long it's going to take. Like I said, my own reference is, would you let Lewis Hamilton, who is such a fantastic F1 driver, go on to the engineering team for the car? How long are you going to wait? Do you know what I mean? We don't know how long we have to wait before he finally turns up. I still feel the appointment was a bit too early, but I'm willing to just give him time simply because the players right now haven't really been given that much. I'm struggling. I keep telling you, I'm struggling. And my Lampard In is biased. Honestly, I don't know what you're going to say. I'm going to give you a bit more thought and everything, but my Lampard thing is biased, fam. Honest to God, it's actually biased, but it is what it is, and that's sort of why I would give Lampard more time, because of how much I love the person. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm one of the people that say separate Lampard.
We are starting to see now you are shameless, aren't you?
We are shameless.
I have already exposed you 6 minutes in. You haven't even taken. It hasn't taken 2 minutes to expose you. What is this? Huh?
You know, the thing is, like I said,
bullshit on my stream. Huh? You start up a YouTube channel and you come with this nonsense from 6 minutes in.
Oh, do you know why? Do you know why I have to support the thing? Man has to support because
where has he gone?
As Abramovich's secretary, I have to support everything that my owner does. You know, I have to support the football club. I can't really come out and say rubbish. Understand? So that is why I need to support Chelsea. I support Roman. You don't understand? So it's Mr. Abramovich's decision. So it is what it is. But brother, give me your reason. Why are you?
I will give you my reason. So when we was in good form, right, we were playing better football than we are now. I think that Leeds game, especially when we outrun Leeds, I think that was an impressive performance as well. I think we played pretty well there. But also, if you look at, you know, we've created a lot of chances. So I know it has been a lot of crosses as well. People will keep saying that 100%. It's a lot of crossing. I think we've crossed the most times this season. So from a chance creation standpoint, 2 seasons in a row, we've been very good for creating chances. Our problem is, again, taking the chances, the big chances that we're missing. And again, for me, the players that are on the pitch, sometimes they're just the wrong personnel for me for the situation. So for instance, when we're crossing and there's no Giroud, that is an issue. But again, when I can see that we're creating chances, that tells me that there is more. Oh, hold on a second. Literally just got home. People, Mod is entering the building. Okay. Do you know what? No. We're not going to hype him up. Let's leave him because he's late. Move on. So what I was saying.
Are you seeing? Literally just got home. Okay.
No, I'm not impressed. So I don't care. Move on. so what I'm saying is we've created a lot of chances, right? And for me, what I'm trying to say is that if you look at the way that this team consistently 2 seasons in a row have continued to be able to create chances, that tells me now that if we get a finisher, we're going to be able to start to turn some of these negative results. How many times do you see a forward and you're like, if that goes in, we could have won this, we could have won that. It's excuses as well, but it's also true that we are missing chances. We're missing big chances. We start to put those away, and suddenly, I know we need to beat top teams, but we did manage to. People that are saying, you know, we haven't beat any top teams this season. For me, another defense on him is that we did beat teams last season, big teams. We had a worse team. So again, I have to.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So that's why for me that Lampard is so difficult, because that was last season with players that were supposedly worse. You understand?
But when you judge Lampard, you judge him for the whole entirety of his reign. So you don't just judge him for this season. So like I said, when people are saying that we're doing very poorly against the top teams, we are 100% this season very poorly. But last season we weren't like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to look at it like that. Another thing you have to look at is just the bare basics of it. Points-wise, we're not doing very well, in my opinion, for our standards. The points last season, again, not very good for our standards. But that has to be put into correlation with all the other experienced managers in the league. You see Pep struggling, Liverpool back-to-back draws. again, I like to look at our team and say, listen, if we're doing well, then we need to. If we're not doing well, we need to be doing better. But when you have to be like, okay, maybe this season or this job is not as easy as it seems right now. Maybe, we need to be a bit more patient and say, hold on a second, everybody's playing poorly. Like, it's not just us. Do you know what I mean? I know we have standards. We have very high standards. And like I said, he has to finish top 4 for me. But when everybody's playing so poorly with no preseason and all these things, you have to be like, okay, maybe there's something going on here, because I'm seeing every big team drop points. So it's not just us. If it was just us, I'd be like, okay, cool. If we were moving like Arsenal, or we were even anywhere near there, and everybody else was way ahead, I'd be like, okay, cool. You ain't got no. This is ridiculous. Everybody else has no issues, and we're messing around. Whereas the difference is now everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling. Yeah. And if you look at the way that he's trying to play, right? For me, he just needs to move. The changes that he needs to make for me are not massive ones. They're very subtle. Yeah. But he just needs to make them. He needs to make them. So I want to give him time to make them, but he just has to make them. For me, in my opinion, the little changes that I need to see, I would love to see Havertz further forward. We're trying to cross the ball, Dami. How many times have we said there's not many numbers in the box? Against Arsenal, what was your opinion of the crossing? Because
brother, you were crossing into N'Golo Kante. This man is below my waistline. That's how short he is, and you're crossing into him. You're crossing into Tammy, who could even score with his head. You understand? There are not enough people in there. Another thing that I've been finding is that the only midfielder that's really making those runs into the box the most is Mason Mount. And even if we're not having enough people around and in and around the box, you understand? So that's one of my major issues right now. So if my thing is with crossing, I hate cross financial, honestly. But if you want to do it, at least do it properly. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, again, to go back onto to the point, is Liverpool did it for 2 years. So it does work. You just, for me, again,
they need planning. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be organization. There needs to be something there. Liverpool's forwards are short, but their crosses, every cross they put in had intent. Sometimes you see Chilwell, ground cross. You see Reece James, high, mid. You see all sorts of different crosses left, right, and center. I'm not saying things have to be the same every time, but we need to make sure that there's enough people in the box and different types of people to finish off different chances. Positionally, we need to be better in the box, because right now it's like, throw as much forward as you can and cross it in and hope for the best. Liverpool didn't really do that. If you look at what they did, and another thing as well that I want to talk about, I don't want to segue too far off what you were saying, but another reason why their thing works well is because they are pressing. They press with intent. We press with a lot of energy. Do you understand? That's what Lampard.
This is the point I want to make.
Go on.
This is the point I want to make. The pressing. That's what we know. We've known he's wanted to do that. But of all the seasons, how difficult is it going to be to implement a press when the team where you're trying to implement a press with is having to play every 2-3 days? He's having to deal with no preseason. He's having to deal with the disease. He's saying, can he still jump in? If you could let him know that he can, because we are trying. Okay, can you message him there? Because Mod is asking questions. Mod needs to be here. So we know he's trying. We can't say that we have no idea what he's trying to do. We know what he's trying to do. The only issue is that what he's trying to do, which is pressing, and obviously we need a plan B, but what he's trying to do is really probably a terrible time to try and do it, right? Because we are in a season where there's no time to recover. The recovery is ridiculous. So he's now having to rotate more, but obviously you're using maybe lesser players, the worst players, and obviously you're going to get, less output from them. But this system that he wants to play relies on certain individuals pressing. We know the importance of Mason Mount in the 8 role. Well, hold on, let me add this, brother, because let me not make it. I don't want to make it look like as if I trolled people into coming here when he's not here.
Brother, I mean,
sir, what kind of time do you call this, sir?
It's called Nigerian time, bro.
I said Nigerian time. If I'm winning this town, why you're a bad demon look this afternoon? You get me? That's what I want.
No, I rate that, bro. I rate that.
Mod is a busy man, but he's finally we've got him now. We finally managed to get him here. I love that. Loving the cap, my guy. You got sunny weather over there still. Me out here with the snow and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same thing.
It's hot.
Feeding that's what we're doing today, fam. It was like -3 when I was feeding those animals, fam. They bit my hand. Oh
let me get the chat, because obviously now it's a mod thing here in the chat. So let me get these people here. Hold on, look at this.
Someone say you were riding a
Come to Dubai, brother. He was in Dubai the whole time. He was in Dubai the whole time. All right, so look, so to get onto the convo, what we've been speaking about is Lampard. Yeah. Obviously, you're still Lampard in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is the thing. We have to give the reasons as to why. And what I've been saying the last few minutes, and obviously I'll let you get onto it as well, is that we know he wants to implement a system where it relies on pressing. We know when you're trying to build a pressing team, of course the whole team has to press, but it relies on a few individuals to do those things.
Yeah.
Now, some of those people, I think he still needs to continue teaching them how to do it effectively, how he wants to. But obviously, people like Mason Mount is pivotal to that, and we know that from last season. That's why he was used so heavily. But the problem with the pressing game is that, and this is where I do feel for him a little bit, is the one time where he's trying to implement his strategy, you know, the press that Klopp would have tried to implement all those years ago. This is the wrong season to do it, because there's no time for recovery. There's no time in between games. It's very congested. There's no preseason. So the fitness levels I'm already seeing are not brilliant. And I'm seeing a lot of lapses of concentration now in the last few games, especially when you're playing 2 games in 3 days. And I'm starting to see holes in the team. I'm starting to see not get into those second balls. You know, those things against Arsenal. I know we was poor on the ball, don't get me wrong, but off the ball, especially in that first 15 minutes, we were all over the place. Mod, obviously you're still Lampard in. You haven't jumped ship yet. Well, what's the reason behind it? Because obviously, brothers, as everybody's starting to pick sides now, but you've remained on sides.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this whole split in the fan base, but I've said from the beginning, I don't want to be a hypocrite anyways. I said that we should give him till the end of the season. It's not the worst thing ever that's happened so far. Yeah, we're in a bad run of form right now, but every single club has had that patch so far this season. Manchester United, Liverpool right now, they're going through a bad patch, like not the best of form. Like Arsenal, obviously, Spurs also. So we can't be quick to just say get him out of the club, okay? Because I still want to believe in him. I mean, it might be my sickness or whatever, but I still want to believe in him. I mean, for sure, he's still very inexperienced, as you said. Like he's right now is it the right time to try to implement the system that he wants to do, considering the fact that there's a very, very packed schedule. And it's evident, you can see we've had so many injuries, like players coming in, they get injured, go back out. So all these things needs to be taken into consideration. But for now, I still feel like it's not the end of the world. He's going to get things right, going to bounce back. I'm just waiting for that and hoping for that. So I'm definitely not Lampard out right now.
I think often enough as well, I want to get your take on this, Dami. We don't speak about, we have improved this season in areas. I know overall it's not an improvement points-wise, in my opinion, and all of these other things, but we have improved the defensive structure in terms of the gaps in between the lines. We have improved the set pieces on both sides of things as well. How do you feel in terms of, do you think, obviously, the weaknesses that we've been speaking about in the last few weeks on all of these streams that we've been going on, do you think that he can go and improve those things? Obviously, you must feel some way confident that he can go ahead and improve on something that he's lacking in quickly enough to get him out of jail, because we speak about him many times as being a smart person. Okay, this is something that's pushed around a lot, is that he's very intelligent. So surely that comes into it as well. It's the actual intelligence of the person to get themselves out of a sticky situation quickly, because he's in a sticky situation right now.
I mean, that's why I keep saying intelligence. Like I said, I can't remember who said it, but the managerial position these days is very heavily disrespected. A lot of people feel like you can just chuck in ex-players and then they know exactly what to do. That's why I keep on using that reference. Whenever I use that reference, people think I've lost the plot. But that's why I keep talking about Lewis Hamilton and driving. Lewis Hamilton is one of the greatest drivers, okay, F1 drivers to ever set foot on the planet. But put that man in the engineering team, is he going to be able to fix up the cars as efficiently? We don't know. The thing is, because of how much you love the man, you're willing to give him a bit of time. But how much time is he going to take? Do you see what I mean? That defense, like you said, defensively, yeah. And if you didn't talk about the spaces in between the line, because last season I complained a lot about that, the fact that the midfield and the back line had so much space behind it. But obviously, you now see that he's pushed that back line up quite a bit. And set piece wise, we've also quite improved. But for me, also adding likes of Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, and what's his name, Mendy back in goal. Those are all automatic improvements. Those are slotting improvements. You don't really need to have much time to do much gelling, because those are people who would fit in better than what we had before. Do you get what I mean? So obviously, I would love for him to be going there and like get stuff done, but I don't know how long it's going to take. Look at
you are not convincing me that you're confident.
Now that's the thing. The thing is,
Mod. I've caught him waffling on a couple of occasions. Now I've caught him again.
No, but I'm not waffling.
You're not waffling.
No, put up, brother.
Do you need to change your stance?
No. I'm not changing. No. Don't do that to me. No, don't click. See, all you people that are watching, don't try and click nothing. We're not clicking nothing right now. Don't click here.
I'm challenging you today. I'm challenging you.
Because at the end of the day, like for me, like I keep saying, my Lampard in is not based on what I am seeing. My Lampard in is biased. Straight bias, honest to God, because of how much I love the man, and he's proven people wrong in the past. So that's why for me, I'm like Lampard in. I've got 8 jerseys in this cupboard. In that cupboard, you don't have 8 jerseys with his name at the back of the thing. I cannot call him to see Lampard out. But for me, that's why I keep saying I don't know how long it will take. People talk about a 3-year plan. A 3-year plan also requires improvement per season. I've had some people tell me that if we don't finish in top 4 this season, that he should carry on after spending more money than he's spending. You get what I'm saying? So there needs to be a lead. It doesn't have to be linear, but there needs to be some form of improvement. How long it's going to take, I don't know. Do I think he can do it? Definitely. But how quickly can he do it? How mad can he manage it? I keep saying to people, if you want to know how your season is going to unfold, end of November, December, and start of January, most important months. We've jacked up December already. You get me? We jacked it up massively. Lost to the worst Arsenal team ever. But the thing is, I'm not trying to be negative out here. All I'm speaking is facts. It's straight facts. That's all man is saying. And like what I keep saying, my Lampard in, I said this on my video on YouTube, innit? If you're not subscribed, go subscribe. But I said this on my YouTube, innit?
Disgusting.
I said, if his name wasn't Frank Lampard and that wasn't the mentality behind it, I would have been manager out. You get me? Short and simple. But I'm backing it just because it is Frank Lampard. I understand that people are talking about a process and wanting stuff to go on long term. But that's why I keep saying to a lot of people, Lampard in and Lampard out, if you want someone to swap between the two, you're asking them to change their base fundamentals of how they support this football club. Lampard in for a lot of people. Anyone that's Lampard in right now would rather have a manager that they are emotionally attached to succeed at the club, even though it means less trophies. That's what Lampard in means to quite a lot of people. If you're Lampard out, you don't give a damn who's at the helm. As long as Chelsea's winning consistently, then you're okay with it. So those are who the Lampard are. Those are the modern fans. But like I said, I watched Frank Lampard growing up, and I love the man a lot. So that's why I am Lampard in. Okay. Simple and short. Right. If that wasn't his name, I'm not Lampard. I'm not manager in. That's what I keep on saying. So
okay. God help you when you go back to Twitter, but Mod, because I think you may have screwed yourself. But Mod, any reasons over the last like 18 months as to what? Not obviously for the love of the club. Dami's already made that point. But on the pitch, have you seen things since he's got here where you're like, okay, cool, I think he can improve? Because personally, I have, and I'm going to make the point, but I'll let you go first. Have you seen stuff on the pitch?
Things that he can improve in?
No, just things that you've seen already where you're like, that gives me the confidence where he can turn this around, and that's why you're still Lampard in, where he can go and finish the season strongly.
This chat is not too nice, you know.
Wait, I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I mean, from the beginning anyways, since last season, he already proved me wrong. So I want to give him the benefit of that, because last season, I was like, before the beginning of last season, I was saying we're going to finish 7th, 8th, 8th, 7th, 6th if we're lucky. And we finished 4th, barely, just below 3rd on goal difference. So I feel like he's already proven me wrong in that aspect. So I don't want to be quick to write him up just like that, because he had to do with what he had to work with what he had, and he pulled through. So I mean, like what, as Dami said, obviously, because it's Frank Lampard, I want to have that belief in him. I want to have that faith in him. So that definitely plays a part. But at the same time, I still feel like he knows how to get around things. He knows how to prove people wrong. So I'm just going to give him the benefit of doubt in that aspect. In the sense of the game, there's so many things he's lacking. So far, he seems out of his depth. There's so many things that I question. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you playing this person here? Why aren't you trying this? But I mean, there's not much I can say. But in terms of his man management, I feel like it's been poor. But there are also many times that he's gotten that spot on. There's so many times that he's bought some sort and they've changed the game. So all he needs to do right now is just like find that consistency and like push with it, basically. So I just want to have that belief in him, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Get the man inspire all the players around him. And like I keep saying, I'm not trying to save face or anything because like for me, like irrespective of who is there, you have to still get them to the end of the season because this is a rough patch, like everybody rightfully says. It's just that this is an important rough patch because this period of this period, every single season in every league determines how your season unfolds. December, end of to the beginning of January. That's how it unfolds. So when I start the manager out, obviously I'm not saying Lampard out. Please, let's not do that. We're not trying to. Don't drag me, please. I'm not. I had to clean off ice and snow this morning. I'm not trying to go through mud as well. So you man, don't drag me for that. But what I'm trying to say is like at the end of the day, like Mod said it perfectly well, innit? Mod said it perfectly well. So like, I believe I can improve. But obviously,
wait, can I ask you a question, Dami?
Yeah.
Because you said that if it was not Lampard, you'd be manager out right now. So that means technically you think that he's not the man for the job right now. Like he's not the man to take the next level.
Jesus, see what listen.
Like that's what I'm saying. So if I'm going to back that. You know, because that's I'm going to back that. I feel when I mean like Lampard, I mean manager out. I'm not talking bang manager sack him right now because when you're talking people, one thing that a lot of Lampard out people don't clock is. Okay, you sack him now. What next? You're going to the worst state. So when I'm saying manager out, I'm talking end of season type B. I'm not talking about right now. You understand? Some people wanted Sarri sacked immediately, and some people wanted Sarri at the end of the season. I don't want Lampard out for the reasons I've stated already. Like I believe the man. Do you get me? I believe him. I really believe the man. At the end of the day, it's just that. For me, looking at all that's going on right now and analyze because that 17-match unbeaten streak, when we were all hopping on live streams, we kept on bringing up the minor negatives, but we're not going to cover negatives when we're winning. Do you understand?
Let me interject here quickly because I want to read out the super chat because I don't want it to disappear. By the way, Felix, people saying a 4-3-3 was a system Lampard wanted all along. Why did we start the season with a 4-2-3-1? Last year was the time to solidify a system. Thank you for the super chat, Felix. I do agree with you. The time last season was to solidify the system 100%. It would have made more sense for us to do that and get that sorted. One thing I will say is that it's important not to forget what happened last season. We did have a lot of injuries, and also this wasn't his team last season as well. We had left back. We didn't have the left back that he trusted. So sometimes he went to 4-3-4-3 to accommodate Alonso in certain games as well. So there was more change of formation last season because it wasn't his players and he didn't trust a lot of them to do the job that he would want them to do in the 4-3-3. Potentially why you saw Mount out wide so often and things like this. And then on top of that as well, you've also got the fact that we did have injuries as well. And it's important not to forget that. There was large parts of the season where Pulisic was injured. I don't really remember Pulisic until the second part of the season. You know, there was large parts of the season where, again, he's still getting to know the squad as well and starting to, you know, he made, for me, a decision that was crazy, which was to play Batshuayi over Giroud for so long. So, you know, as second choice. So there's so many things that went on in last season as to why he didn't submit it. I would have been happier, of course, if I think towards the end of the season, you started to see the 4-3-3 more often after lockdown against, you know, even before when we played Everton at home, we played really well. Liverpool at home, when Billy Gilmore played in that role. So you did see the 4-3-3. You just couldn't see it every time because I think the key was to get top four, and some games you had to adapt to go free at the back because either the players that he had or also tactically as well. But obviously this season he's trying to stick more to what he wants. And I test merchant Mod. Did you think? Jesus Christ, Lord have mercy. I test merchant. You're the devil for that, you know, because I just read that as if I was gonna get a question, and you've done what you've done.
Oh my days.
I'm in tears, bro.
Are you gonna respond to him? Because I don't know what to
quick and efficient answer is no. Okay, that's it. No.
I think a point that you guys ain't brought up, which is I'm surprised I was waiting, is what happened last year. Do you know what I mean? Like, we did have some really good tactical games last year that we won. I think Arsenal away, when he made the Jorginho change, he showed that he could change the game on his head. So I don't think he's tactically inept completely to the point where he doesn't know what he's doing. I think he made decisions. I think last season, tactically, he showed himself to be quite good at times when he was actually quite flexible. Now that he's having to stick with a system, and again, where he's trying to stick to a system and be less flexible and try and go with what he wants now, because he needs to show that he can be consistent, maybe to this new brand of players where he's made promises to them when joining that you're going to play this way, we're going to play that way.
Yeah.
Now it's less of a situation where he's going to change it so often, because he needs to show that he's got some sort of, not philosophy, but he's got some sort of plan. And I think last season when he was flexible and he was showing that he could be tactically flexible in games and he was making decisions. Tottenham away is another one where we played a 3 at the back, 4 and then a 3, Mount played up wide. He showed that he could have masterclasses, Jose Mourinho type masterclasses in games. You know, he showed that he could take games to top managers and outwit them. So I don't think that he's tactically inept. I think right now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place at the point where he needs to show these new players that there's a plan. He needs to show a progression in his plan, which is the 4-3-3. And I think because it's difficult, because he hasn't had a preseason, hasn't had time to work on it, whereas and I know other people are going to bring up other teams doing better. The difference is that he's inexperienced. And I think I was well aware when he got here, if he's going to implement something, it's probably going to take him longer to implement it than someone like Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti's got the same playbook wherever he goes, really. He knows what he wants to do. He's brought in James Rodriguez immediately. No surprise that he's been able to make his team play the way he wants them to with a lot of signings quicker than Lampard, because he's a coach for longer. So he's able to implement his stuff quicker, of course. Same goes for all the other experienced managers. But when it comes to, Bielsa at Leeds, so many others. But when it comes down to Lampard, because he's inexperienced, and again, he's coming into this period, which is unknown, by the way, for any coach to come into a period where you have, and this is where I give him the time. He's come into, this is not a normal season, all right? This season is a freak season. Even experienced managers are struggling. You see Pep, you see everybody dropping points. That everybody is struggling. So no shit, the inexperienced guy is struggling. Do you know what I mean? Of course, kind of thing. So that's where I give him time, because I think, yes, there has to be a bare minimum foundation, 100%. Like I said, top 4. But I think we also need to give him time to get out of this and figure out what's going on, because not only was he already learning on the job, which we all kind of accepted when he got here, whether we wanted him to come this early or not. Now you're learning on the job, and you're learning with a whole new season that you've never mapped out. This is a guy that's using his playing career, for me, and the managers that he's been under to get himself, that's part of his experience, isn't it? Coming into the job. Yeah. How can you use that playing career when this season's nothing like anything you've ever played under? That's where my defense comes from. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't projected that recently because I've obviously wanted to be critical because he's been poor. I've mentioned the things that he's done badly at, but I think it's also important to name some striking differences between a second season and this second season. Because if it was a normal second season and we were playing like this, I'd be cutting way less slack, because I'd be seeing the top teams doing what they usually do, racking up the normal points, and then I would be able to really identify that Lampard, isolating him out of it, and you can see he's clearly inept. But because there is something going on here, which is a freak season, and in any job this season, everybody is struggling in any job, in any part of the world, in anything. You're struggling this year. So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, obviously, I keep saying, like, my thing is, like, obviously, I keep going at the fact that I'm biased to be the whole Lampard In thing. And there are a few good points. So another thing as well that we all need to remember is, like, the actual players themselves. Do you know what I mean? The actual players themselves haven't been of that much help. Them getting injured, coming into the league. That's why I keep saying Werner and Havertz. I'm not really going to argue about what position they should be playing or whatever have you. But Havertz, he got that pandemic thing. Do you know what I'm saying? He got that pandemic thing. Like, at the end of the day, I had the pandemic thing. Man used to go to the gym. I was going to the gym before that. That's why I lost a lot of weight. That's why my jawline shrink. But obviously, at the end of the day, that's why man lost weight. That's why man got a bit fit. I got the thing. I tried going back to the gym after I was cleared. It was impossible. I genuinely can't explain it. It's difficult to come back to sport after catching that. And Chelsea have been very low-key about who is getting what, where, and how. Do you understand? So it could be a possibility that people might have even caught stuff. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, we don't really know. So for someone like Havertz,
they would have to announce that, surely.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But like, my thing is, even with Havertz, like, when that became a thing and it was official and everyone heard about it, like, you couldn't really say too much about that, because at the end of the day, you look at Havertz and like, we didn't really expect him to turn up that quickly this season. And then you add the fact that he's coming into this league These men are used to holiday during this period. In Germany, they go on holiday right now. Werner is supposed to be stroking his, he's meant to be with his girlfriend. Havertz is meant to be stroking his alpacas. That's what I went to do today. You get me? Man went to go take care of this himself. But at the end of the day, like all those different elements and stuff that are involved, you need to account for that. Ziyech getting injured and like who else is up front. But those are the major people right now. Some people could argue, which is an argument I've used myself, that what happened to the players from last season? Obviously, they're gelling a bit better. They should have gelled better now, using certain people now. And obviously, Lampard's use of them hasn't been the best, but that also has to be accounted as well. So it's definitely a freak period. But we still, like I said, there are standards and there's also looking at stuff as well. So yeah, that's how we see that as well. But yeah, Matisse, I agree what you mean. And no, we're not blaming the thing. I can't say that word on YouTube before Matisse gets the money.
I understand Lamp says to be blamed from playing players out of position, but you can't fault him for the sitters missed all season. I think, this is another point I want to make to you guys, and I want to see what you think. But there's a lot of basics that are not being done. I said it earlier, but I didn't really get to flesh it out. Timo's first touch, like that, you're training football every day. Do you know what I mean? Your first touch should be on point. Havertz as well, misplacing very simple passes and passing with no pace. Do you know what I mean? Again, that's something that you've got to be able to do. So for me, I'm seeing a drop-off in the team and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I'll see what you guys think. From a mental standpoint, they look tired because the things that they're doing on the pitch for me at points, from a few of them, they look like as if they're mentally drained. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I know other people are going to say, well, other teams are doing this, other teams are doing that. As I keep saying, no top team, really not many top teams in Europe. We can try and list them out in the comments if you can, what top teams in Europe are actually performing to expectation. But most of the top teams in Europe, in their leagues, are performing under their own high standards for the season that they expected to have. So I'm seeing so many players that are just not concentrating when they, do you know what I mean, with the bare basics. And that's something I can't blame him for. I cannot blame him for players not having a first touch and things like that. You don't lose that ability. Do you know what I mean? You can't lose that ability out of nowhere. I don't know what you guys think of that.
I mean,
Go
at the end of the day,
go on, Dami, go on.
I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, you can't really but that's the thing, we've been new. You know what I mean? If you watch Timo at Leipzig, all this stuff you would know. Do you understand? So I'd expect I watched this man at Leipzig as well. All these chances he's missing. I'm not saying he was as bad as this. He used to miss chances, blood.
He used to miss a lot of chances.
He used to do that all the time, but because of how Leipzig set up, how the chances were converting, I'm not saying that Lampard pinning him to the touch line and all those stuff is easy, or him going up against fullbacks that are equally as fast. All those things don't help his game, but his first touch and those things, we've been new. Do you know what I mean? We've been new about all these things for time, but I definitely understand what you're saying. I don't think you would have accounted for some people not playing as badly as they currently are. But Mod, what do you have to say, fam?
No. I completely agree. I mean, even at Leipzig, I mean, there were many times when Werner would go on bad run of form, run of games, and then when he's good, he's really good. When he's bad, he's really bad. So that's when you have to try and get in behind the player. But at the same time, also it's been underwhelming. But I can't really blame him. At the same time, there's so many factors that have to be considered. I mean, personally, I feel like he should not be playing on the wings. But at the same time, also, he's just been so unlucky in so many games. He's been so unfortunate. He's hit the woodwork so many times. I mean, they could have easily been converted to goals and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's the thing. You have to and the thing with Leipzig is they almost built the team around him to suit his gameplay. You know how he plays. Yeah. So yeah, that also helped him a lot. So those are things that we have to factor now that he's playing at Chelsea. So yeah.
Someone said, did you actually expect Chelsea to win the league in a transition with 10 new players and settling in? I don't think anybody expected Chelsea to win the league. So that's where I think
if you saw a tweet from us saying we will win the league, I can't believe that.
a lot of people.
When you see me tweeting Chelsea will win the league, Champions League, and World Cup,
and you
take me seriously, then you've got. I'm not the idiot. You get me? So let's not even. Do you understand? So I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there was a period where I got carried away. You know that belief came in, but I mean, it didn't last long, obviously.
Exactly. So all been brought down.
Mod. We're blaming you here. Mod was on a mad propaganda roll for a second. I'm telling you, it was a madness. It's actually mad. Let me see this. So again, this is our pattern of play is also not structured properly and effectively. We are very predictable with our passing, and nobody is driving with the ball through the lines. Again, this is another
vertical passes from Mason Mount and Kai Havertz. You understand? You see that goal that everybody keeps circulating on the timeline where Chilwell crossed into Giroud. Yeah. But missing all of those type of passes in between the lines. You understand? So
there was. To be fair, that was a very well worked goal. Do you know what I mean? That was a very well worked goal.
And the one difference is the vertical pass from Mason Mount. You understand? Usually Lampard is like circle things all the way out through the wing. If you don't work on this wing, you switch play, try again, or send it all the way around. Mason Mount with that one-time pass, sending it in and then releasing to. Do you understand? It changes up the flow. So like for me, that's why I keep saying cross and inshallah. Okay, if that's how you want to play ball, it's not my cup of tea, but at least do it well. You understand what I'm saying? Do it well, do it with intent, and do it with different styles. You understand? So that's how I'm seeing it. If he wants to do cross and inshallah and we keep on winning, I don't give a damn, because you can win the Champions League like that, you can win the World Cup like that, you can win the Premier League like that. That's not my business. But as long as stuff is consistent and is different and is fresh, then you're not going to be able to counter that. Liverpool done it for quite a few times. I'm not trying to compare us to Liverpool and Klopp, because that's a completely different conversation. And if you involve Klopp and Pep in Lampard comparisons, then I think you've really lost the plot at the end of the day for me. But there are just something that we should be doing, and that's one of them. So, yeah.
I think another point as well, Mod, I'll let you build on this from afterwards, what you thought. I want to get your thoughts on all of our signings, what you made of the new players that have come in. But I think, one thing I do have confidence is the way he's trying to build the squad. I've said it.
Yeah.
I think when he leaves, he's going to leave a much healthier squad for the next manager than the one that he took over. Like, it's not in the past where with previous managers, I've been like, oh, I'm not sure I like your transfer targets, or I don't know if you're actually building a team for the future. I feel like you might screw us over on the wage part of things, or, I feel like you might screw us over with having too many old players, and then they're all aging at the same time, and players are, retiring and all these things, and there's no sell on, because of course this is a business as well. You don't want to sign a 35-year-old Bonucci potentially or whatever, and sign them on high wages and then they dip and then you can't get rid of them. I feel like we've been very responsible with who we've paid for. I know not all of our signings have worked out, but I still like the mold and the idea of the signings. I think the only one that I'm really worried about that he's made is Timo Werner. It's going to be very interesting to see if he can get the best out of Timo Werner, because he's a very hit and miss. It's like you either get the best out of him or you really don't. And right now you can see he's not in the same zones. He's not got the same output. He's a shadow of himself. But you've seen his heights at Leipzig, and everybody was hyped to get him. And Liverpool were looking at him. And I think the only reason why they didn't get him is because of money, nothing to do with them actually not wanting him. So there is something there. The rest of the signings, I can see what he's trying to do. Everything makes sense in my opinion. So even though it's not come together on the pitch every time, I can understand what he's trying to build. It just hasn't come together, and I have the confidence in his intelligence to make it come together. An instance is Chilwell. The runs that he's making to overlap with Reece James as the other side, being the more inverted and stockier and more, stockier right back, where he can get forward, Reece, but you can see he's not as adventurous as Chilwell. Chilwell is very happy to make back post runs and all these things, whereas Reece James is a little bit more inverted, and that brings a bit of balance, and obviously he can come inside as well. Mount tucks in for Chilwell. That makes sense. As an industrious 8, someone that can actually cover the wide spaces. He can cover in transition and help Kante, who, even though he's very mobile, he will decline slightly. That makes sense to me. Signing Ziyech to make those crossfield balls for Werner, who we've seen make those runs from the left-hand channel at Leipzig. I know he was playing up front in a 2, but he was still making runs off the left. It was just that he was higher up the pitch, and he was scoring from that side. And we've seen Ziyech do it against us for Ajax, where he put it for promise on a plate. And we saw Pulisic as well at the end of last lockdown, working on his finishing at the back post, scoring a lot more goals from the left-hand side. Lampard was trying to train him to get into the box. No surprise he signed Ziyech, who again there is trying to funnel the left winger and the left back who are overlapping. You see what I mean? So because I can explain what I can see what he's trying to do, that's why I have belief, because even though it's not happening, I can still understand it. Let me just check. There's no more chats here. Sorry, people. It's very hard to manage the two things because this is a difficult one here. But because I can explain what I think he's trying to do, it's very hard for me to just be like, I'm done with him, because he hasn't implemented it fully, and I can understand why he hasn't. And I'm frustrated because I want to see it on the pitch, but there are reasons as to why he might not have been able to implement everything yet. But I can explain what he's trying to do. In a sense, I feel like I can understand what his logic is. What about you, Mod? What have you made of the new signings?
Yeah. I mean, like you said it already, like you can clearly see that there's a vision. I mean, like it's a process. Like compared to the second that he walked into the team, the squad that he had, it's not only about the signings that he's made, the players that he's gotten out of the squad also. Man, Willian, how many managers have we seen under Willian? I mean, he's the first one to like get him out. Reece, like there's so many people that he's managed to like filter out, and he's done it efficiently and like very, very well. And I you can only like applaud him for that, because it took so long for certain managers to see certain things like this also. So yeah, with the signings for sure, like I was very, very happy and pleased at the end of the window with basically every single signing that we made, because you can see a clear reason why you got each and every one of them. So yeah, that's like as Matisse said, like there's a clear vision, and you can definitely see what he's trying to do. And not only with signings, with the existing players that he already has, he's gotten the best out of a lot of players like Zuma, Mason Mount last season. One of my issues with him was that his chance creation, like his creation wasn't that good, his creativity. I mean, this season he's up the charts. He's doing really, really good in that aspect. As you said, Pulisic also in Dortmund. He said that he couldn't score goals. Clearly, he can score goals. So he's gotten the best out of signing players also that he found when he came into the club. So yeah, as you said, he's not completely inept as a manager, and you can clearly see what he's trying to do. But there's still the holes also that's very, very frustrating to see, because you can tell that it's taken longer than we would wish for, but we're getting there slowly. That's the thing. But ideally, we should have reached certain levels already, but that's just not the case. It's a freak season, as everyone said. We've had certain circumstances with injuries. Ziyech has not had the proper run of games. Havertz has not really had that breakthrough. He was doing well at some point, then he got the virus, obviously, and then that was a huge setback for him. So yeah, there's so many factors, and it's just very frustrating to see. But there's a clear vision, and that's why I still have hope in him. That's why I still want to believe in him.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add to that as well, one thing that a lot of people fail to realize, and that's one thing that I think we've done on this stream quite well. As much as we bring up all the things that we feel are wrong and negative, it's clear that irrespective of how this season unfolds, Lampard's managerial reign at Chelsea Football Club will be classed as a success in my eyes. Simply because the changes he's made to this squad, he's integrated new youth players that can be there for quite a bit of time. You've got Mason Mount, you've got Tammy Abraham in there. I mean, Fikayo Tomori recently has been off the charts. Billy Gilmore something as well. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I mean, you could argue that he started doing things under Sarri, and then Lampard came in and added him a bit more, even though he's not really been playing. He's involved youth players. He's gotten rid of Willian and his Jazz. He's got rid of Pedro. He's got rid of all these players that obviously they've done good things for the club in the past, but they're not really they're not the way forward. And I can see him get rid of the likes of Alonso, get rid of the likes of Jorginho, Drinkwater, if not for the fact that transfer window was not, Marina likes to take her sweet ass time. I work with her. I'm secretary in it, so I know what this thing is on. So I know it takes a long time for her to sort out all these transfer deals, but at the end of the day, he done all that, clearing the world. He's building the so no matter how the season unfolds, you have to give the man credit, because the squad he's building right now is fit for a king. If you give this squad to any this squad right now, people might disagree with me based on form, which is kind of fair, but based on the name alone, name and everything, this squad is one of the top 5, maybe top 7 squads in Europe right now.
But also when he gets that squad, he's going to be under pressure to get the best out of them, big time, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, definitely. But my point is, like I said, he's building something, and you can definitely see something being built. Once again, Matisse, I don't know if you remember when we went on that podcast with Mediano, and he said something very brilliant about what was Lampard appointed for. At the end of the day, I don't care I would love him to win a trophy, win some trophies, and be here for quite a bit of time. But bottom line of what I'm trying to say is that is definitely the biggest positive I've seen so far. Introducing all these youth players that are going to be here for at least a decade, hopefully, at the end of the day, at least one of them. getting all these new signings, because that pool thing, as much as Marina was heavily involved based on a video I watched from the Athletic/Tifo, I can't remember exactly where I watched that video, because Marina was heavily involved in a lot of these transfers, more than we are actually think. And getting all these players involved, all this and clearing all these players that are not relevant, you can't take that away. You can't give all that credit to Peter Cech and Marina. Lampard needs some of that, because he spoke to some of these people on the phone. They said in their conferences and they said all that they wanted to work with Frank Lampard. So that alone, the squad changed, because we've been complaining about this squad since Jose Mourinho 15-16. And Lampard has changed within the space of 18 months. That's phenomenal. I
think also another point is we've seen Zidane take. I'm not talking about Zidane after the Champions League, obviously when he was appointed. He wasn't really tactically, for me, at the top level, but he got a lot of individuals around him with brilliance and managed to win big things. I'm not saying Lampard will get to those heights, but it's definitely a method in football that seems to be more apparent, where you employ a legend of a football club who can inspire a group of individuals to come to the club and bring in players that maybe we didn't really have a divine right to be able to bring in terms of, usually we'd be challenging big clubs like Real Madrid as well for those players. And it is difficult to battle against them sometimes. Of course, this is a club that will always sign big players, but I think to get as many as we have in one window has been pretty good. And obviously the financial situation for other clubs has helped that. But like you said, even if he doesn't reach the heights that we wanted him to, that I wanted him to hit, which was win the Premier League, he will leave, because he will leave a better squad. We may actually see a long-term success for this football club at the top level, because we have been very up and down, we have to admit, over the last few years. But I think because of the players he's brought in and the mentality change at the board level that he's brought in as well, which again we didn't have, the person after him, we may actually see the success that we were hoping he would have.
That still kind of success. And his tenure wouldn't be. I don't think a lot of people think that obviously, except he goes on to lose the next 20 games. I mean, then we have a big problem. Irrespective of how the season ends, his legacy is not tarnished in my eyes. It's not tarnished.
Sure. Let me read out some chats here. Felix,
from C. I want to talk about that real quick.
Felix, when you play out of position, you have to think of the simple basics, because they aren't natural to you. Timo relies on instinct and position and not overthinking. That's a good point to make. 100%. It's a very good point to make. And I think very similar to, I've compared them with Fernando Torres a lot of times, because I think they're similar players in the fact that they use their pace mostly for their goals. And I think also, I remember Torres when he was going up against defenders when he wasn't in good form. So I'm comparing really Torres' poor form to Timo's and the lack of confidence potentially. When Torres wasn't in good form, he would try and kick. He was very much kick and run. Do you know what I mean? If we're being honest, he would try and kick it past the defender, try and run past them, and he wouldn't get there. And I don't know if it's because he lost the yard of pace, which obviously Timo hasn't lost yet. But that was kind of the bare basics that he was going to try and get past the man. And like I said, he's not a dribbler, is he? So when they are out of their comfort zone, plus they're maybe low on confidence, then maybe the basics can be a little bit ropey. So it's good. That's a good comment. C says, can't wait for everyone to flip-flop from Lampard out when we get going again. They will let their ego go when Lamps gets W's consistently. I don't think so. I mean, that's not really something I can answer, because we don't know it. Yeah, you can take it.
Because I think that once again, it depends heavily on the individual. You see, you have people that want to be right regardless of how things are. Yeah. There are people that will be angry when we're winning consistently, would want the club to fail and lose games because they want to be proven right. That is not a fan. You understand? Those are not fans. We don't call those fans of Chelsea. Now, I'm going to put myself in this position. I'm not Lampard out for starters, so I don't really fit the bill. But I'm asking so many questions, and some people might think, "Oh, that means closet out, whatever." Exactly. For me, okay, my opinion is, see, for starters, all of us that have Mod, you can attest to this. You guys are big accounts in it. I'm still a small fry. At the end of the day, our opinions are kind of irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. If we're right, it makes us look very good, okay? Yeah. If we're right, very good. It makes our credibility go up higher. If we're wrong, but it's beneficial to the football club, our happiness and I'm shameless. When Chelsea wins that next game, I'm going to come onto the timeline. Listen. But I'm going to come step in happy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what makes me happy, and that's what makes. Yeah. So as a fan, it doesn't matter whether I'm right or wrong. Do you get me? So do you get my point? Except you're not an actual football fan and support Chelsea, That's when you'll be upset. Chelsea winning their next game, obviously I'm going to drop. I mean, I'm not just going to completely drop all my concerns. That's not how it works. You understand? I'll still ask my question, but I will be happy because Chelsea is winning. That is what we want at the end of the day. If Lampard goes on to win 100 games now, and I'm wrong about all my assumptions, so be I take you on the chin and I keep moving.
Yeah, take all the L's proudly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, Mod, do you want to expand on that? Matisse, and do you guys want to expand on what I said? Or
I'll let Mod, do you want to take it if you got anything? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's because like everyone's like, oh, now you're flip-flopping. Yeah, like you like, take your L or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll gladly take my L. You get me? Because ultimately, I want what's best for the club. If that's going to prove me wrong and we're winning, I will happily take all the hate, all the backfire, whatever it is. You get me? All the memes. Because at the end of the day, we're winning, and that's what matters to me. You get me? So yeah, exactly. I get what you mean.
Exactly. Simple, spot on. It's as simple as that. Matisse, what do you think?
Yeah, I think really to obviously we'll try and wrap up in the next 5 minutes. I'm just going through the comments, so I can't click on all of them, but I think there's a lot of consensus in here. Just to round up from what a lot of people are saying is that they feel like he's a shit manager, basically. If I'm reacting really to the comment section, that's what I'm getting a lot of. So I'm not going to ignore it. Thank you so much for the donation, my friend. Thank you so much. I can see a lot of comments where I don't know if it's rival fans but maybe, I mean, it probably is Chelsea fans, to be honest, right now. But people are saying that he's just not good enough. He's just not good enough to manage the club. I think when before he came in as well, I think I said as well before he came in, I think it was too soon because, like I said, even though I think he can get himself out of it, I know he's not at his prime. Do you know what I mean? And because I've seen situations where, you know, even not the best of managers have gone on to do great things. So let me give you an example. Di Matteo, do you know what I mean? Not a great manager, we know that, but managed to go and do great things because of the cohesiveness and culture that he was able to keep and hold on to. Obviously, it's not, you know, maybe he's not even here for long-term success. We've kind of spoken about it, you know. I'm not expecting a dynasty here. I'm not expecting a Sir Alex Ferguson, but there's different ways to quantify success. We've gone through different ways. There's bringing a playing squad up for the next man. And yes, you know, I speak about this with Sarri a lot. Even though people will deem his time, a lot of people will say his time was unsuccessful. Some people will say it was successful. If you take away the trophies and the playing position, the reason why I would say it was successful is because he took us from playing counter-attacking football to attacking football, which made it easier for Lampard. And the same thing with Lampard. Maybe it's not on the playing field where he's going to improve us drastically. I wouldn't say that we're playing way better football, but what he's been able to do to flip the squad, I think we have to understand that that's a very, you know, it's not that doesn't happen often. I haven't seen Chelsea flip squads like that since probably when we had Jose Mourinho at the beginning, and we all know that was a lot of money pumped in. A lot of money's been pumped in this time as well, but there's also some sort of like Chelsea are not at the pinnacle when you're flipping the squad. So there's a lot of stuff we don't see behind the scenes, a lot of phone calls taking place and things like this, where it's like he's definitely had an influence on that side of things as well. Let me just read out the super chat as well. Yeah, there's nothing wrong asking questions. I'm being critical, but I think it's fine. Feels like it's going to the point where people care more about being right than care about the club. That's my only concern. I mean, I'm not concerned about it. It doesn't keep me up awake at night because, to be honest, it's their opinion. Do you know what I mean? For me, at this point, I just let everybody say their own piece. And do you know what I mean? If I think it's too much, then I just let it go. Do you know what I mean? I don't bother too much with it because at the end of the day, I've always said this: if you can't control something, then try not to worry about it too much. Do you know what I mean? We'll control what you can control, and what you can control is how you act, how you see the situation. And if you in your own head can see logic in what you're doing, you ain't really got a problem. Do you know what I mean? If you can see the other opinion and debate it out as well, then you're sorted. You're perfect. So I wouldn't worry about it. Like, again, results always improve fan base's mood. It doesn't matter who's in charge. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter who this, who that. True. If we start picking up results, the mood of the fan base will just improve 100%. It always does. And if the results are bad, it will be bad. That, like, those things just go align with each other. They are literally linear. Do you know what I mean? So that's something that you just have to be ready for. If your team's going through bad form, then yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit angry and toxic. I'm just ready for that. And if we're going through
next 3 games and everybody says we're winning the title,
if we win our next 3 games, if we win our next 3 games, which we are capable of doing, we've gone on runs before. This is my point with a lot of people. we are capable of winning games. I know we don't do it often recently. I don't want people to forget that we can win games. And if we go on a little run with the table the way it looks, we can find ourselves third or second. And then what are you going to be? Of course, you're going to still have the same concerns. Yeah. We're still going to have to say, yeah, Mod, I swear to God, Mod, if you do this again.
Get ready, bro. Get ready.
Man, do you know what? Yeah, it must be difficult running your account because if you do these things, they do take off a bit. And it's fun, but it also it kind of like it gets around, you know what I mean? And the whole fan base kind of gets onto it. And the next thing
Good morning to everyone who's going to win the Premier League at the end of next season.
You know what I mean? Let's get into that. For the last part,
bro, nah, I'm just trying to keep that positive energy always going. That's all, man. That's all. That ass.
For the last part of the show, obviously, I want to speak about that. Obviously, social media, because I think, you know, last week, last 2 weeks, last day, it's been nuts. Yeah. How is it, Mod? Firstly, with you, how is it running that account? Because I think a lot of people, and the reason why I want to do this because it's very rare you get the opportunity to do this. And I think maybe people in the comments will have questions. You don't need to do super chats. I'm gonna try and look at the comments more during this section. So if you want to leave a comment about this, do, and I'll try and get to it. But there must be a pressure, or do you feel, or are you just relaxed? Do you feel any pressure running that account because there's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of people, and it actually does get around. Like we say it doesn't make a difference, but it clearly has some sort of influence because, you know, I think if you was to be Lampard out right now, holy shit. Do you know what I mean? There would be a lot more going on. Do you know what I mean? There's already a lot going on. But I think there definitely is some sort of influence there. So how is it for you running that size account? Because it's just there's a lot
that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, before I used to feel the pressure a lot more, but now I'm much more relaxed and I try to stay as authentic as possible. So everything that I do say is what I do feel. Again, because there's always that pressure of trying to go with the popular opinion because you're gonna get the backlash, you're gonna get the hate. But now I feel like I'm just gonna handle it however it comes, because now I don't even scroll through my mentions and stuff like that. I'm gonna see things that will piss you off. You get me? So I'm just gonna stay true to myself, be authentic, say my actual opinions, and try my best to actually like keep a balance in the fan base, because I feel like there is that responsibility. As you said, if I'm out here on Twitter saying Lampard out, get out of my club, it's gonna like spark that negative energy, and like that kind of responsibility also on the Twitter fan base. So I'm trying to stay level-headed. I'm not trying to give any extreme opinions. So that's what I've been doing so far, anyways.
Do you wish you could probably give more extreme opinions, or are you is it not really bothering you too much? Because obviously, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes you do wish you could, but it's just not pretty. It's on a very, very ugly side most of the time. So I try to just like stay away from those strong opinions, because it doesn't usually end well.
Yeah, I think there's been a few times where even if I remember when I spoke about Kante, and if you do give a so-called unpopular opinion, you probably will get quite a bit of abuse in your DMs. And obviously, Dami, you know, actually, well, both of you have created video content. Well, how? I mean, we've all created video content. We can't. Thank you so much for the donations.
This hat give like, you see, the thing with the whole thing is, in these past few days, you know, I've actually liked this chaos because it's teaching me a lot. Okay, it's teaching me a whole lot because it boils down to your morals. You know, it boils down to your fundamental beliefs and what you stand for. If a big account comes out and says Lampard out, structures their opinion, gives everything all right, you're probably going to cop a lot of hate for it. Do you understand? You're going to cop a lot of hate. You're going to get a lot of people saying, I agree with what you say. If you say, Lampard in, give yourself constructed opinions, you're still going to cop a lot of hate for it. So you can't really never fit all gloves. It's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think the responsibility thing that people keep talking about, I'm responsible for how I portray my points and how I pass them across. As long as you must look like a sous chef, Jesus. Anyways, as long as you pass across properly, once you pass your points across properly, respectfully, you don't violate anybody, you do things respectfully, you don't come out insulting players, I don't want to drag anybody specifically, but at the end of the day, all these different elements, you just need to make sure what you're doing is all respectful and clean. Do you understand? You can have arguments, like for example, okay, that would have been a bad idea, but you can have arguments where you bring on two massively contradicting personalities. Let them have a conversation. Let's have a discussion, a tete-a-tete. You understand? So that's why for me, over the past few days, I'm saying what I have to say. If this was me 6 months ago talking like this, I would still be talking Lampard in and saying everything is rosy, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't be asking constructive questions. I wouldn't be trying to step calculated. But recently, I've realized that it don't make a difference, because unless you actually say what makes you, you, it don't make a difference. So it's that you avoid it completely and not talk about it, which is basically impossible at this time, because that's all everybody's talking about. Or you just stay calculated, short and simple.
How have you both found? I want to finish on this one because this is funny. We've all done it. How have you found video creating on Twitter? How have you guys navigated that one? Because obviously we've all done it. Backlash is beautiful, as they say.
Oh my days.
Do you know what I mean? It's been hard, but we've managed to get it done.
If we all had a pound, yeah. If we all more than Alex always firing on Twitter. Oh my days.
I mean, it's all respectful, though.
It is respectful. Yeah.
It's all respectful, isn't it? So, but honestly, the three of us, yeah, as all black men, established black men, we all each had a pound for the number of time we've been quoted with all sorts of racism or player comparisons. I mean, Mod, you've gotten Joe Gomez, Matisse. I don't know who you are, but I've gotten Welbeck, I've gotten Thomas Partey, I've gotten video content creation. I mean, that's why I'm on YouTube.com. You understand? That's why man is moving it. But at the end of the day, like the videos, one thing that all of us do nicely is we still put them out anyways. You know, I'm coming from, like, at the end of the day, I really could care less about what some people have to say. Some blank individuals. Some people tell us to go feed our children or whatever. Like, bro, I don't have no kids. I'm 20. What's your problem? Understand? Tell me to go get a job. I've got a job. What's your issue? You understand? Go get a girlfriend.
The thing is,
bro. So you don't talk to man like that. You understand? But nah, man, I'm all out here, fam. I'm all out here. So as long as you're confident,
like the thing is, like, people think that you take so much effort to make a 2-minute video on Twitter. Like you're doing like a whole film or something. Bro, you're just recording for 2 minutes and that's it. And they're like, why are you so serious? I'm like, bro, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. You're the one taking it seriously. I swear, it's just so funny sometimes when I see it.
It's true. It's true. It takes 2 seconds to do, and like I said, I think it's been good because it doesn't allow for, you know, things to get misconstrued. I think it's been a good way for other people to articulate themselves as well.
Yeah.
And it's something new to the platform. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I like to see different things. So I personally am happy to see it. So I can't really complain.
Thing is, I don't even want to drag some certain individuals.
Don't stop trying to have a
some people,
Jesus Christ. This brother's a wild one, you know. This brother's a wild one on the stream. I always have to hold him back.
Hold him down.
Some people, literally will spend hours making comps. You understand? Hours making compilations. Do you understand? I've been video editing for 6 or 7 years, so I'm relatively good at it. If I want to make a banging comp, it's going to take me about 4 hours. Some people spend 24 hours on their compilations, and they're out here. It takes me 2 minutes to take my phone like that, talk for like 2 minutes.
Exactly.
I upload it and I left it, and that's the end. Sometimes tweeting is more difficult than actually making the video because you need to search up statistics. So people just really hate stuff they can't do. You understand? Some people don't have the confidence to come out and actually be like, XYZ, and it's difficult. It's not an easy thing to do. So not everybody can do so. I understand why some people hate on it. Sometimes it is cringe. You get me? For example, when I'm out here mimicking Mourinho and Arteta with the hair gel and shit, it is. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea in it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So you just have to respect yourself and keep your own thing in it. So that's why I keep saying it falls down to your fundamentals. It falls down to your morals, what you believe in, and what you actually want to do. As long as you have those things set out each time and you don't go overstep any boundaries, you're sorted.
Well, thank you as well for this this comment, bro. Love your work. Yeah, more coming. You know what I mean? Daily content. We're playing the Man City game. It's not called off apparently, so there'll be a preview as well on that. People, thank you, brother. Don't get me started on that game, man. I'm so stressed on that game. People, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna wrap up now. You know, I've had these two boys on. Thank you so much for joining me, gentlemen. Do you know what I mean? Repping Nigeria proper. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Man like Mod. We don't get Mod on YouTube too often, actually. This is good. Do you know what I mean? It's good to see.
My first time actually on YouTube, by the way.
Is it first time? There
First
you go,
time,
people. So that's the first time. Man's making his YouTube debut.
Matisse, can we talk about something real quick? Can we talk about something very quickly?
I was just wrapping up. I
know you're wrapping up, but very, very short. You can see how man is looking a bit white and everything. Matisse, you're looking a bit dark. Look how Mod with the sun. See how my guy is shining. All of us are suffering. It's dark outside.
Do you know what it actually is? Yeah, Jesus Christ, brother. It's snowing and all sorts. This brother's out here living life in the sun.
It's shining all day, every day over here, man.
When you eventually do come to London, Mod, you're in for a shock. I think you will. You know, I mean, yeah, it's a when because Stamford Bridge is here, isn't it? So there's something here. When it happens, you'll be in for a shock. That's what I can say. You know what I'm saying? People, make sure you follow Dami on YouTube as well. Brother's been putting up a couple videos and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? I think he's over here. I think he might be on YouTube now, isn't it?
I am on YouTube, please. I mean, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can go ahead. But please, YouTube. And that, you don't want me under London Bridge by March. You just go to YouTube. You understand? Subscribe. I'm going to be doing daily content. You understand? The grand dam. That's what you need to do. Go press that little red button with the bell icon. I'm shameless.
Wow.
So you do that. You understand?
Mod, you want to do anything equally as shameless? Your Twitter, please let them know where to follow you.
I'm all good. I'm gonna stay modest and I'm.
I am shameless, fam.
This brother, you two, yeah, with this bell notification nonsense. I've seen you both do it now. You shameless people. Go ahead.
Man.
So Mod, let the people know your Twitter just so they can clearly get it as well. I don't want to.
Yeah, it's CFC Mod _. Yeah, that's where you find me. Sure.
100%. And you got the daily tweets coming out. Do you know what I mean? This brother's consistent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want I'm serious. If you want daily tweets about Chelsea, you will get daily. Like me, I will be lying to you. I'm not gonna lie. Some days I do slack off, but Mod is actually very consistent. So you will get opinions and tweets out of him very often. People, it's been real. I'm not gonna lie, man's wrecked. Do you know what I mean? Back-to-back streams. I was on Rance's channel as well. If you want to check that out with DG, and probably have DG on soon at some point. Man keeps trying to get it done, but it's not working. But we're gonna get it done. All right. I know you people want to see that. In a bit, I will see you tomorrow. I think for the preview because, as I said, Man City game ain't called off, so we're gonna get to that.
Bro.
It's gonna be a madness. In a bit, people. Thank you very much for joining.